The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, Douglas Adams. By a curious coincidence, none at all is exactly how much suspicion the ape descendant ascendant had that one of his closest friends was not descended from an ape, but was in fact from a small planet somewhere in the vicinity of Betelgeuse, and not from Guilford, as he usually claimed. Ascendant had never ever suspected this. This friend of his had first arrived on the planet Earth some 15 Earth years previously, and he had worked hard to blend himself into Earth society with, it must be said, some success. For instance, he had spent those 15 years pretending to be an out-of-work actor, which was plausible enough. He had made one curious blunder, though, because he had skimmed a bit on his preparatory research. The information he had gathered had led him to choose the name Pod Prefect as being nicely inconspicuous. He was not conspicuously tall. His features were striking, but not conspicuously handsome. His hair was wiry and gingerish, and brushed backward from the temples. His skin seemed to be pulled backward from the nose. There was something very slightly odd about him, but it was difficult to say what it was. Perhaps it was that his eyes didn't seem to blink often enough, and when you talked to him for any length of time, your eyes began involuntarily to water on his behalf. Perhaps it was that he smiled slightly too broadly and gave people the unnerving impression that he was about to go for their leg. He struck most of the friends he had made on Earth as an eccentric but a harmless one, an unruly boozer with some oddity habit. For instance, he would often gate-crash university parties, get badly drunk, and start making fun of any astrophysicist he could find till he got thrown out. Sometimes he would get seized with oddly distracted mood and stare into the sky as if hypnotized, until someone asked him what he was doing. Then he would start guiltily for a moment, relax and grin. Oh, just looking for flying saucers. He would joke, and everyone would laugh and ask him what sort of flying saucer he was looking for. Green ones. He would reply with a wicked grin, laugh widely for a moment, and then suddenly lunge for the nearest bar and buy an enormous round of drink. Evening like this usually ended badly. Ford would get out of his skull one whiskey, huddle into a corner with some girl, and explain to her in slurred phrase that honestly the color of the flying saucer didn't matter that much really. Thereafter, staggering semi-paralytic down the night street, he would often ask a passing policeman if they knew the way to Betelgeuse. The policeman would usually say something like, "Don't you think it's about time you went off home, sir?" "I'm trying to, baby, I'm trying to," is what Ford invariably replied on these occasions. In fact, what he was really looking for when he started distractedly into the sky was any kind of flying saucer at all. The reason he said green was that green was the traditional space library of the Betelgeuse trading scouts. Ford Prefect was desperate that any flying saucer at all would arrive soon because 15 years was a long time to get stranded anywhere, particularly somewhere as mind-bogglingly dull as the Earth. Ford wished that the flying saucer would arrive soon because he knew how to flag flying saucers down and get lift from them. He knew how to see the marvels of the universe for less than 30 Atarian dollars a day. In fact, Ford Prefect was a roving researcher for that wholly remarkable book, The Hitch Hiker's Guide to the Galaxy. Human beings are great adapters, and by lunchtime life in the environs of Arthur's house had settled into a steady routine. It was Arthur's accepted role to lie squelched in the mud and making occasional demand to see his lawyer, his mother, or a good book. It was Mr. Prozer's accepted role to tackle Arthur with the occasional new ploy, such as the for the public goods talk or the March of Progress talk, and they knocked my house down once, never looked back talk, and various other cajoleries and threats. And it was the bulldozer driver's accepted role to sit around drinking coffee and experimenting with union regulations to see how they could turn the situation to their financial advantage. The earth moved slowly in its diurnal course. The sun was beginning to dry out the mud that Arthur lay in. The shadow moved across him again. "Hello, Arthur," said the shadow. Arthur looked up, and squinting into the sun, was startled to see Ford Prefect standing above him. "Ford, hello, how are you?" "Fine," said Ford. "Look, are you busy?" "Am I busy?" exclaimed Arthur. "Well, I've just got all these bulldozers and things to lie in front of because they will knock my house down if I don't, but other than that, well, no, not especially. Why? They don't have sarcasm on Betelgeuse, and Ford Perfect often failed to notice it unless he was concentrating. He said, "Good. Is there anywhere we can talk?" "What?" said Arthur Dent. For a few seconds Ford seemed to ignore him and stared fixedly into the sky like a rabbit trying to get run over by a car. Then suddenly she squatted down beside Arthur. "We've got to talk," he said urgently. "Fine," said Arthur. "Talk." "And drink," said Ford. "It's vitally important that you talk and drink. Now, you'll go to the pub in the village." He looked into the sky again, nervous, expectant. "Look, don't you understand?" shouted Arthur. He pointed at Frauja. "That man won't knock my house down." Ford glanced at him, puzzled. "Well, he can do it while you are away, can't he?" he asked. But I don't want him to. Ah, look, what's the matter with you, Ford? Said Asa. Nothing. Nothing's the matter. Listen to me. I've got to tell you the most important thing you've ever heard. I've got to tell you now, and I've got to tell you in the salon bar of the horse and groom. But why? Because you are going to need a very steep drink. Both stared at us, and us was astonished to find his will beginning to weaken. He didn't realize that this was because of an old drinking game that Pod had learned to play in the hyperspace pod that served the Madra Night mining belt in the star system of Orion Beta. The game was not unlike the Earth game called Indian Wrestling and was played like this. Two contestants would sit either side of the table with a glass in front of each of them. Between them would be placed a bottle of junk spirit, as immortalized in that ancient Orion mining song. Oh, don't give me none more of that old junk spirit. No, don't give me none more of that junk spirit. For my head will fly, my tongue will lie, my eyes will fry, and I may die. Won't you pour me one more of that simple old junk spirit? Which of the two contestants would then concentrate their will on the bottle and attempt to tip it and pour spirit into the glass of his opponent, who would then have to drink it. The bottle would then be refilled. The game would be played again and again. Once you started to lose, you would probably keep losing, because one of the effects of junk spirit is to depress telepsychic power. As soon as predetermined quantity had been consumed, the final loser would have to perform a forfeit, which was usually obscenely biological. For the prefect usually played to lose.